50 years ago, a band out of the Jesus People community formed to write and play music to raise the dead. They are the Resurrection Band, coming up on Andrew's journey in Christian contemporary music. Welcome to Andrew's journey in Christian contemporary music, where we dive into the classics, discover what's new, and demonstrate the originals. If you're into all things Christian contemporary music, please consider subscribing by clicking that red button. And if you're liking what you're seeing, please give the video a thumbs up. Climb aboard, let's do the CCM journey together. I became a believer in early spring of 1984. I was just about to turn 18 and graduate from high school. While in high school, my tastes in music changed from pop and lighter rock to heavy rock, progressive rock, and 80s heavy metal. Naturally, when I turned to Christ, I started to search and see if there was Christian music out there that compared with what I was listening to at that point in my life. Sure, I love the music in the church, but I was looking for something a little heavier, something with a little bit more growl. On my first visit to the Christian bookstore, I purchased Petra's Not of This World, Approaching Light Speed by Barnabas, and Music to Raise the Dead by Resurrection Band, the best of Rez. I loved all three of these albums and would go on to purchase more from each of those bands. But the music and the message that Resurrection Band brought had a huge impact on my early walk with the Lord. Songs that you could rock out to, but also songs that challenge you, whether they were among the songs where they raised social conscience or songs to contemplate where your own walk with God was at. Resurrection Band started bringing this kind of music and message in 1972, when there were very few artists in Christian music bringing anything as heavy. They truly blazed a trail for all the hard rock and heavy metal Christian bands that were to follow. And although they haven't played live in over 10 years, I want to recognize the fact that it all started 50 years ago. As I did a couple weeks ago with the 50 Years of Petra episode, I want to acknowledge the band members and also run down a list of my favorite Rez Band songs. Only in this case, I'm going to do a top 11 songs. Why 11? I'll explain a little bit later. But if you are watching this as a Rez Band fan, I want to encourage you to leave a comment and let me know what your favorite Rez Band songs are. What's your top 20, your top 10, your number 1, whatever. I'd love to hear from you. And for the uninitiated, you can look up my list and check out the songs for yourself and let me know what you think. Unlike Petra, Resurrection Band had fewer band member changes. In fact, it was only on bass guitar that there were any changes. Husband and wife team Glenn and Wendy Kaiser provided vocals, with Glenn also playing electric guitars, usually rhythm, but sometimes lead. Stu Heiss played most of the lead guitar, also played keyboards. John Heron played drums, and then there were the three bass players over their career. Dylan Palto in the early years from 1972 to 1974, Jim Denton from 1974 to 1987, and Roy Montroy from 1987 onward. That was the core, but they had a number of guests appear at various times. Tom Cameron on harmonica, Roger Heiss, who was Stu's brother, on percussion, Kenny Soderblom on sax, flute, and recorder, Steve Eisen on sax, Percy Batty on keyboards. Then there were a number of guests on their last original album and concept album, Lament, including the album's producer and guitarist for the group King's X, Ty Tabor. There was also Ed Bialik on percussion, Chris Cameron on organ, Hilda Bialik on cello, Eric Clayton on panpipes, and about a dozen background singers. A big shout out to all of those, but especially the core group that made such fantastic music over the years. And now on to my top 11 Resurrection Band songs of all time. Why 11? A little background of my history with the band. The Rez Band released 12 original studio albums, and I own the first 7 of them, going from 1978 to 1985. There was a 3-year gap when they finally released album number 8 in 1988. By that time, I had moved on to other music, so I really only started listening to their last 5 albums over the last couple of years. Since I have so much history with the first 7 albums, I decided to do 11 songs based on those 7. And in order to get representation from all 7 albums, I had to do a top 11 instead of a top 10. So here we go. Coming in at number 11, Military Man from the 1982 album DMZ. One of the great all-time opening tracks, and was often a concert opener at Rez Band concerts. And its riff is just iconic. Lyrics focus on the destructiveness of war to the one in the military. Lyric goes, military man got his demons laughing, pushing him over the sanity brink. Horizons changing, train derailing, his iron ships begun to sink. As is the pattern with many Rez songs, Christ as the answer comes into the picture. With the line, saw the light from the man above, his heart pierced by a sword of love in the military man. And later, no more doing time, he tasted the new wine. This is the first Rez Band song that I started to headbang to. That's Military Man at number 11 from the album DMZ. Number 10 is The Chair from the 1981 album Mommy Don't Love Daddy Anymore. A well-crafted song that addresses the marginalization of those confined to wheelchairs. It starts with this slowish beat by John Herron into a dark, heavy riff. Then, as equally bleak sounding a lyric starts up, paralyzing facts, countless diseases, semi-mobile, semi-useless, subhuman, to help describe the plight of the paraplegic. Musically, it moves from this heavy riff to an almost Nirvana-sounding arpeggio riff, about 10 years before Nirvana even became a band, to an acoustic interlude in the bridge, to an emotional guitar solo, and back to the arpeggio and fading on the heavy riff. The lyric finishes with the individual in the chair realizing the work of Christ on the cross and what they can do, even in their state. My suffering can't compare to what you took willingly, sacrifice nowhere near what you gave on that tree. And later, there is so much that I can do, giving love and following you. I must also mention that this is one of Glenn's many great vocal performances. The Chair from Mommy Don't Love Daddy Anymore at number 10. Coming in at number 9 is Attention from the 1984 album Hostage. Attention, stand on your feet. Attention, listen to me. This chorus would be about as close as Rez would get to a sing-along declaration arena rock song. The verses are all about the omnipotence of God. A great rocking riff in the same vein as a secular band like Judas Priest. Wendy provides a killer vocal, and John Herron, who's the unsung hero of this band in my opinion, plays some pounding drums. From an album that got dumped on quite a bit because there's a lot of synths and electronic drums on it, Attention is one of the few songs on the album that just flat out rocks with no electronica, and it is my number 9. Coming in at number 8, Shadows from the 1985 album Between Heaven and Hell. Numbers 8 and 7 are story songs. A few times throughout the Rez Band's career, they wrote songs that were stories. Some had endings of hope and faith. Some had not so happy endings, and some kind of left you like a cliffhanger. My number 8 is Shadows from Between Heaven and Hell. This story tells of Johnny, who dies of a drug overdose, and the ensuing reaction from those close to him. Though his death is tragic, a close one to him, possibly a good friend, is haunted by Johnny's death to the point that he cries out to God to save him. The song concludes with this individual praising God as he sings, "Lord, you took the shadows, took all my fears and doubt and brought me out of the night. Lord, you take the shadows, give me hope and love and turn my darkness to light." The lyrics combined with Glenn's soaring singing voice make this an epic song, and the production on this song, and the whole album for that matter, is terrific. Coming in at number 7, Tears in the Rain from the album Hostage. And now to a story with a not so happy ending. Rez has no problem with reality. People have been living their lives with the God of the universe out of the picture since the beginning of humanity. But the tragic ending still helps drive the point home of the emptiness of pursuing fame and fortune. In Tears in the Rain, a guy and a girl who had a relationship become severed as the guy pursues his dream of being a rock star, leaving the God-believing girl behind. He makes it all the way to the top, and when he finally gets to play the big concert in his hometown, the girl is waiting outside the venue praying for him. The final verse drives home the rock star's choice. And as he left the theater in his limousine, he saw her in an instant, felt the breath of their lost dreams. But rock and roll was calling. The spotlight never waits. A crying girl and her God watch him move on to his fate. There's some incredibly good guitar work on this song, and again, a killer vocal by Glenn. Coming in at number 6, Beggar in the Alleyway from the 1980 album Colors. Great album cover, isn't it? This is my favorite Rez song with Wendy singing the lead vocal. The perfect balance of her gentle side of her vocal and her distorted vocal. And as the 9th track of 10 tracks on this, is probably my best deep cut of any Rez Band song. Great bluesy guitar playing, drumming, solid bass from Jim Denton, and poignant lyrics. But to me, this one is all about Wendy's vocal performance, especially as she sings, "'Cause I was a beggar in the alleyway, until one desperate passion play, the dice were loaded and the deck was marked, and I lay dying in the dark. The Lord took me in and covered me, turned on the light that made me see who I am without your son, the King of Kings, the risen one. Ooh yeah, yeah. Perfect." Coming in at number 5, American Dream, also from the album Colors. One of the fastest riffs and heaviest songs of Rez's, at least on this album. American Dream still has relevance today, even if some of the lyrics are a little bit dated. The song exposes the illusion of the American dream that so many chase after when things are crumbling all around them. A line says, "Confusion with our coffee, fear and frosted flakes. The dollar takes another dive, another bubble breaks, yeah." The song leads to the bottom line that Christ's work on the cross is where we will find fulfillment in life. Vanity, all is vanity, all but the cross, all but his dying. Glenn's voice reaches a near breaking point as he knocks out another amazing performance. Coming in at number 4, Lightshine from the 1978 album Awaiting Your Reply. If there's one song that I just flat out love to sing along to, it's Lightshine. Even though Glenn takes the lead on the verses, Wendy comes in on the chorus and just makes you want to sing along with them. Lightshine, will you be mine? Do you understand where I've been? Twilight carries in tonight If I go there, will you follow me in? What does it mean for a rebel to dream? I'm a gambler, how can I win? Am I in danger? Don't be a stranger to me. Don't be a stranger to me. This song, early in their career, showcased how rockin' this band can be and gave a little glimpse of how much heavier they can become and did become later on. Coming in at number 3, Paint a Picture from the 1979 album Rainbow's End. As much as I love all the heavy rocking stuff that Rez has done over the years, my top 3 are actually more ballad-like. My number 3 is Paint a Picture from this album right here, Rainbow's End. Glenn's vocal jumps right in at the beginning with a piano. The melody is beautiful as it builds first with an acoustic guitar halfway through the first verse, then the rest of the band comes in on the chorus. The song paints a picture of the bleakness of a lonely life and compares it to life with Christ. Paint a picture of a lonely life. Paint a picture of a cold gray night. Paint a picture of the emptiest day you've ever known. And then later, paint a picture of a blood-covered cross. See that picture and you'll know what it cost, the price God paid to prove his love for you. There is a tasty, bluesy guitar solo. Then Glenn sings in the outro with so much emotion. To prove his love for you. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. As an equally amazing outro guitar solo responds to the vocal. A classic. Coming in at number 2, back to Awaiting Your Reply, Broken Promises. Numbers 1 and 2 have meant the most to me personally, especially in my early walk with the Lord. At number 2, Broken Promises has been my prayer many times after I've blown it or when I've just drifted away from him. The line, Jesus breaks me, Lord, snap my stubborn heart in two, just resonates with me. Just like the song Paint a Picture, Broken Promises starts with piano, but only on its own, before the vocal and other instruments enter. And of course, Glenn brings it like only he can. He has so much feel in these songs, so much passion. The synth part sounds a little dated, but the rest of the song doesn't. The ending part where Glenn sings, Lord, help me to follow you, and the response from the electric guitar is just so good. And solid drumming from John Herron. I never get tired of listening to this song, Broken Promises, from Awaiting Your Reply. And finally, we get to number 1. So, when I got that first album of Rez's, I right away wanted to get the rest of their catalog at that time, and I got all but one album. There was this one album always seemed to elude me, or it did elude me. And then one day, I had the TV on, and I had and there happened to be a Christian TV show on that had a segment on Rez Band. And so I, of course, wanted to watch. And as I was watching it toward the end of this segment of the show, I started to hear this song in the background that I knew was a Rez Band song because I know Glenn's voice. And I was like, where's that song from? And I could only conclude that it was on the one album that I hadn't got from their catalog up to that point. Well, I finally got the album from a place that I didn't typically shop at, and it was the album Rainbow's End. And the song that I heard that day on the TV show, I had to, because I didn't even know the name of it, I had to go right until through the entire album to find out that it was the last song on the album, Every Time It Rains, which has always been my favorite song ever since I got this album. And to make it even better and make me appreciate the song even more, the second time that I went to see Resurrection Band in concert, we had a nice great seat, and Glenn stopped after a song and gave a piece of his testimony, and it was just so heartfelt. And after that, he broke into this song, Every Time It Rains. And if there was ever a moment that I just would have loved to have captured and put in a bottle and be able to revisit it time and again, that was the moment. I was so moved by his testimony and how he sung that song live. It was just so great. My favorite verse of all time of the Rez Band is the second verse of the song. It speaks to me. It's, "Why do you love me when I treat you so wrong? I give you heartache and you give me a song. I leave you silence, cold and empty stares, but still I know you care. Lord, wherever I run, you're there," just like a psalm of David. And then the chorus, "Lord, you cried for me when I could weep no more. You died for me when I was dead in sin. You felt for me when I was numb within. You searched for me and brought me home again." And it ends with a beautiful saxophone solo by Kenny Soderblom, just a perfect ending to a fantastic song. And that is my list, top 11 Rez Band songs. I hope you enjoyed it and enjoyed my tribute. 50 years ago, this band formed. They put out some great music, and it still goes on today. Many enjoy it. If you're a Rez Band fan, I know you still do. And if you're not, check it out. Check out these songs, and then let me know in the comments what you think. Thanks again for watching, and take care. Bye for now. Thanks for watching Andrew's Journey in Christian Contemporary Music. So long.